This is PTV World. I am Syed Shabahat Ali and you are watching Fault Lines. COP28 is taking place in UAE's capital, Dubai. Back to back, this is second year when a GCC country, a Middle Eastern country, an Arab nation is steering the process of global climate change negotiations. And why it is important? Because the countries that are consuming most of the oil and the fossil fuels have already been very active in the process. But now the steering of this wonderful event is led by the countries that are playing a pertinent role in production of fossil fuel as well as in the trade of global fossil fuel. As you understand, Dubai plays an imperative role in the process. Pakistan's delegation was led by the acting Prime Minister, but the caretaker Prime Minister of the country, Anwarul Haq Kakar, who spoke to the occasion. It's very important and significant to note that this event takes a revival or a stock take of all the commitments that have been made by the member nations. COPs stand for the United Nations Climate Change Conference, and climate change conference are specifically have become important since 2015. When in Paris, more than 200 nations collectively agreed that they will keep the global climate temperature less than 1.5 C. And since then, in every year, November or the end of every year, a COP event takes place. I hope you remember last year it took place at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. We covered the issue during the show. And this time in UAE, the process is being led or presided by Dr. Sultan Al-Jaber, Minister for Industries and Advanced Technologies for UAE, who also happens to be Managing Director and Group CEO of Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. He's presiding the entire process. Now, why it is important? Because the corporates, particularly the corporates that are responsible in the trade, that are taking active part in the oil production, need to take a very responsible role. That was being felt since quite long, and now finally we are all here in COP28, which has commenced on 30th of November and will continue till 12th of December. To speak about this very pertinent issue, we have requested two leading scholars, Dr. Asif Javed, who is an environmental expert and environmental scientist from Pakistan with more than 18 years of research in this subject. He also holds a PhD degree, is my first guest in the show. Dr. Asif Javed, I welcome you to the show. Dr. Asif, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor, first tell us about your thoughts on this COP28 taking place. Why the scientist community is so excited about the COP event every year?
Yeah, Shabat, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me and to speak on this important occasion. COP is basically a conference of parties, and parties here refer to the world leaders, basically those leaders who basically attend this conference and make pledges and become a part of that conference. So they become the party of that. So it is basically the gathering of more than 195 or 196 leaders of the world who get together to discuss the issue of the climate change, their solutions, and so many things. And basically, it is the result of basically United Nations framework on climate change, which was held in 1992 and come into force in 1994. And this COP28 is very important. Initially, there was some major decision taken in COP21, referred as the Paris Accord, where 1.5 degree or 2 degrees Celsius pathway was set as a target for the coming. So what is 1.5 degree Celsius pathway is basically the difference of temperature. The average world temperature should be capped at maximum of 1.5 degrees compared to the pre-industrial era, or you can say like from 18th century to 19th century. So this 1.5 degree is the target, and 2 degrees Celsius compared to that is also acceptable. But beyond that is really alarming for all of us. So this COP28 is very important. Its main focus will be on global stock take. Global stock take means how far have we come and what is to be done in the future and in what direction we are moving in terms of the targets that were set in Paris Accord.
And
Yes,
is
Shabbat.
this why the Paris Climate Change Agreement in 2015 is always remembered and much talked about? What was the significance of the Paris Agreement reached in 2015?
In 2015, specifically, it's a major hard landmark agreement because it was clearly, they have clearly defined the target for the world, such as 2 degrees Celsius temperature, as I mentioned. So that's a target, that's a benchmark on which every progress of the world should be made by every COP, COP conferences, things like that. So in terms of, this is the very significance of Paris Accord. And the second most important significance is that in Paris Accord, basically the United States, who is a big emitter of the greenhouse gases, also after when the Biden after when Biden became the president of the United States, he brings the United States into the Paris Accord, not into the Kyoto Protocol, initially referred as, you can say, like Convention on United Nations Framework, which was signed in 1997.
Dr. When I was doing a bit of research for the show, I saw a terminology which was global stock take, and it's the first year when the global stock take will be evaluated. Now tell us what this terminology essentially means. What is the global stock take?
Global stock take is very important. It is about basically to measure the progress toward against the set target that in the Paris Accord, basically. How far we have come until now, in what direction we are heading in terms of targets that were set in the Paris Accord. So this is a very important. In COP28, definitely there should be a discussion on mitigation of climate change. There will be a discussion on adaptation, loss and damage fund, and finances, fossil fuel phasing out, something like that. But most important thing is the global stock take. As I mentioned, it is to measure the progress in what direction we are moving. And clearly, in last year, I think the Indian Prime Minister and UAE, they had a joint statement regarding this global stock statement. This could be the totally the landmark of this COP28 if the countries or leaders yet have agreement or measure where they are. But still, Shabhat, there are many challenges. For example, the world is clearly divided into developed, developing, and least developed countries. So climate actions basically may be feasible somehow for European countries, for America, and for developed countries. But there is a big problem in the developing countries who don't have resources or technological advancements, things like that, to implement the climate action in a true sense. That's very important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asif Javed, for being guest on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Dr. Asif Javed, and a few pertinent things that he mentioned is that the 2015 agreement, which was at that time not attended, the conference was not attended by the United States when Donald Trump was the president. Later, when Biden took the presidency, he took United States into the fold of this agreement, which was a very pertinent development as per him, and also that the measure of progress made by all these countries as an important thing that he told us needs to take place every year.